And I think that worked.
Yep, I think so
So we
too.
are live.
Indeed. Hello, everybody.
Hey, friends who are
Welcome,
joining
welcome.
us. We are only two people because
Yeah,
half of the squad is feeling a little bit under the weather.
yep.
So we will be having a bit of an abbreviated stream. We will still be discussing Blood of Elves as promised, but we will also, in our next live show, kind of go over it again just with all of our hosts. We do have Sasha in the chat, which is lovely. So
Yeah,
she'll
welcome,
give
Sasha.
yeah. So at least we will still discuss it as planned. I'm like really, really excited because I filmed my wrap up a few days ago for the month of it's April now, and I was talking
Yeah.
about Blood of Elves, and it's like I was getting so excited. So we'll wait for people to come in. Hello.
Hi, hi. The lovely cat picture is back from Susie. I just love that cat picture. I can't help it.
I'm guessing that's for you, Naomi. Did you struggle finishing it?
I did finish it. I was like one chapter away or something with the former life. So
Okay.
I finished, I think that weekend or the week after I finished it. But I think it's up to Judith because she still had to start it today, I think. So, and through the
Maybe.
Discord, she was like reading it. I think she finished it like half an hour ago. Correct me if I'm wrong, or about an hour ago. So her memory will be better than
Okay, yes,
mine.
it was for Judith. There we go. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, I think we're not gonna lie about it. That, and I think everybody knows that we absolutely loved it. We already mentioned that last life. So yeah,
I will not make the same mistake again, though. I will not read the next book at the beginning of the month because I want to
yeah,
make sure, like, kind of like we were talking about, everything is still, I want it to be fresh. But I'm so, like, anxious to just get through it.
yeah. I haven't started the next one either, just because I didn't like want to mix up because my memory is so bad already regarding these books for some reason. Like, I love them, but
Mhm.
my memory, I don't know what's wrong with it. I think it's so many people, so many places all together that it's difficult for me to memorize everything and to
Yeah,
know every single detail from throughout the book. And I just forget to make notes. Like, I have to make notes, but I just forget about it because it's actually that good.
4 stars. Yeah, me too.
I think mine was 4.5 or 5. Absolutely loved it.
When I think about it in retrospect, I think it's probably closer to 4.5, 5. I like the rating way more now that it's not short stories.
Yeah.
3.5 stars. Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
wonder
think I
what.
really agree with Larissa though. I like the writing better that it isn't short stories, so we are actually getting a proper introduction to the actual story. Like the short stories felt more like a little background about the world and the characters,
Mm,
and now we got like a little, not little, but we got some world building and some more depth to the actual novels and the actual story that's going to start. And I absolutely loved it about it. It was slow at times, so in that regard, I was a little picky about my rating, but I loved
yeah.
it regardless because the other chapters definitely made up for it.
Yeah, 100%. That's like the main thing. Like if I could sum up this book, it's really the character stuff and all the political things. But I can see how it could be so slow, especially if you're
Mhm.
not really enjoying it.
I get that, Sasha. I get that.
Yeah, yeah, and they were a little bit different. So I like, why don't we start guiding this? What did we think of the characters in this? Because we definitely got to see them over longer and larger plot points.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how everyone feels now that Dandelion's actually like involved and
Yeah.
we see Siri and we see like everyone. So what did you think?
I personally love the characters. Also, what you mentioned with your April TBR, no May TBR game, like the characters, the women were so strong. I absolutely love them. What I didn't like as much, or in comparison, is that Geralt went more to the background, even though it is represented that the story is about Geralt, the witch hunter. So it was a little weird in that regard, but I absolutely loved the characters that took more up front, like Triss, like Yen, like Ciri, like, yeah, I like that about that. And also the more in-depth about like the mages and everything, I like that.
Yeah.
Even though it was confusing at times because there were many characters and I was like thinking about who were they again from the short story. So yeah, it was confusing a little bit at times, but I still love them.
I could see that. Yeah, when I was reading it, I was like, I don't think Geralt. It's funny because he's like on the cover and everything, and in the games you play as him, but he is not the main character anymore.
Nope.
I think this story is really going to revolve 100% or mainly around Ciri, and I loved getting to watch her interact with everyone, and even when she wasn't there in the scene, the way people like talked about her, it really made sense. Like I loved watching everyone's reactions to her and like how she reacts and people talking about her even when she wasn't there. Okay, so I'm a little bit, I don't want to get behind on comments. Loved Ciri, Yennefer, Sorcerer. Yeah, that would be interesting. I definitely liked seeing people at Kaer Morhen, like seeing the Witchers. I like Yennefer better than the previous two books.
Yeah, I loved her interaction with Ciri too.
Triss and Ciri and Yennefer and Ciri, like every single one of their scenes of all like the women together were so good.
And then I also liked like the opposites between Ciri and the Witchers in Kaer Morhen, and then Ciri with Triss. Like the difference was so huge, but I loved it regardless.
I loved Triss telling off all the Witchers that like, hey, this is a woman. You can't just treat her like a little boy. Like you guys didn't even think about that. And she's like shaming them all standing there. I loved it.
Yeah, I love that too. And I also liked it that Ciri wasn't like from the Witcher's perspective put in a dress because she's a woman. She could just wear pants and just be like comfortable in her own skin, and I absolutely love that. And she also wasn't treated differently because she was a woman or a girl. Yeah, girl still at that moment, I think. And I really like that. They just took her as she is, and she's just part of the group, and I really like that about her.
Yeah, that scene was like one of my favorite things. I also liked how everyone treated her kind of like a bit like an adult. Like no one was scared to have like hard conversations with her, and I really enjoyed that she's starting to kind of. You can tell that she's not just trying to stay in her ways. She knows that her old life is gone, and she's trying to learn the ways of the Witcher and stuff. Yeah, that's
also what Larissa said. Like. That was so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like what you said, like they just tell her off like an adult, like straightforward, no bullshit. I think that's good because I think often in adult books, adults are treating children like children, but like way below their age. Like a 16, 17-year-old, they would like treat like a child of 10, 11, 12 years old, while they're not. Like Ciri has also been through trauma. It's like you're more mature when you've experienced all those things, and I really like it that they're actually treating her like an adult then.
Yeah, I liked when Geralt was having like conversations with her that felt a bit more. I don't even want to say like philosophical, but almost. It was just really interesting, and watching her internalize that. You can tell that she listens and she really respects what he has to say, but then she's like comparing it to what she knows. I honestly, like, I'm so obsessed with Ciri's character.
Yeah, me too. Like, I came a long way in that regard because, as you know by now, I watched the first 2 seasons before reading the books, and I was like, at the first season, like, what a little whiny bitch is this? And my boyfriend was like, no, you're gonna love her. You're gonna love her. You wait and see. And by the second season, I was still a little meh, but I'm liking her better now that she's getting more badass. But now reading the book, I'm like, yeah, I'm loving her.
Yeah. Sasha, you make a good point because like she's expected to have like this power and to be this really important person, but it's not like they like everyone's trying to protect her. I think they're making her aware of the danger that she's in. she takes it in stride. Like when she is sent to the monastery, I don't know if there's another name for it, I can't remember now, but when she's sent to like the monastery, the religious place, she takes it seriously, but she still kind of acts like a young person, which is nice. Like she's still a little impulsive and she does things that she doesn't fully understand. But I like that she takes things seriously, and she knows that people treat her as an adult because she has to grow the hell up really fast. Yeah, exactly.
In that case, I love those scenes in the monastery, I think it was, between Ciri and Yen. That Ciri was like, wait, what is it like to be in a relationship? I want to have sex. Is it normal and everything? I love those conversations with Yen.
Yeah.
Like, they were so funny. And at the same time, I was like, yeah, it's good. It's actually happening in this book. Those kind of conversations, because they're real.
Yeah. Exactly, Larissa. And that's the other thing I found so cool about this book specifically, was watching all the little pieces and little plots against Ciri, because you could see someone doing one thing and you're like, oh my god, shit's gonna hit the fan, but you can't do anything about it. I love the politics, but that was just like that. I don't know if that's just me. I loved it.
I actually loved it as well, even though it was very confusing at times with all the names and everything. But with this grand meeting where they were all discussing, like, is she dead? Is she not? She could be alive. No way, she's not alive. It's been 2 years. And I really love that kind of meeting, actually. And that was so interesting to see. Like, in a way, it was also some character growth with the lesser known characters, and to see their perspectives. It was really interesting in between. It was a long chapter, if I'm not mistaken. It was like the very long one, the meeting. But still, I think it's necessary to get the other point of view of what's happening in the world at the same time as serious training. And I really like that.
It definitely felt a bit like setup, but I also feel like I understand who like the leaders are, which is kind of weird because we only really get like a little bit of dialogue. We all get them sitting around a table discussing whether or not to kill a child. But at the same time, you kind of get to understand, like, through little context clues, the greater situation in the world. Yeah. You kind of get to see like what's happening with the war and what's happening with the non-humans, and it's really impressive, I think, to like have this whole this, like, the scene feels insignificant, or like it feels kind of boring maybe, but then when you kind of look into it, there's so much.
It's so important. Like, it's the little tidbits of that scene that I think will make such a big importance in the later books. Like, it will be like, oh yeah, wait, but they discussed it way back then at the table at the gathering, and then you're like, oh yeah, wait, I forgot about that, but it actually happened. Like, it's like in the series or books that you got like these little Easter eggs planted, and I feel that meeting is like full of Easter eggs for the upcoming books.
Yeah, there's definitely like there's going to be a lot of stuff. I feel like there's a lot of rereadability in this series because there's going to be things that were mentioned in passing, and then like later in the books you're going to find them and you're going to be, shit, I forgot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I could still get every point of view though. Like, the people who thought she was dead, like, I get it. It's a burning city that got besieged. Like, I wouldn't expect a young girl, I think she was 12 or 13 or something like that when she
I think she was like 10. I thought she was 10.
Yeah, she
and
was
now she's like
13. Young. Like, you don't expect a child to get away from there. Like, I get their point of view, like, who is actually thinking she's dead. And then the others like, yeah, but she is the Lion's Cup of Sintra. Like, she could get out of there. So yeah, I really like that discussion about it, and it also clarifies and explains some decisions that were made in that regard.
Yeah.
And I really
And the other part that made me feel that way too is when Ciri, Geralt, and Triss are riding, and they're having the discussions about the Fae, that the Scatil that are hiding in the forest. And there's Ciri was like off on her own, and she was like thinking about it. You could tell, and you could tell it like it weighed heavily on her, because she views Geralt as this like really good person, but he is not always right. Like when he takes these like super neutral positions, and she realizes that like you can't always be that way. And I really love her like sitting and having to work through that. And
Mhm.
you can tell like it's gonna come back for sure. Like she's not done thinking
Yeah,
about it. She's still young and she hasn't seen
yeah,
that much.
I really like that as well. That she isn't seeing him just as some good god to her, like a good father, but that he's actually very morally grey in what he
Mhm.
does, and I really like that. And I think that's an amazing setup for a character growth in her part,
Mm.
like that you recognize those things and everything, and come to agreement with herself as well. I hope that it's
Yeah.
okay not always to do the good thing, and I hope to see more of that soon though in the further books. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean like she was well written as a child in the short story.
yeah,
So she definitely had annoying moments, but like
true.
you can already tell the growth within just a
Yeah,
couple books.
I felt she grew immensely, even from what was it? No, not the Last Wish. That was the first one.
Sort of
Second one. I
Destiny.
already yeah, Sort of Destiny. See, I already forgot the name of the book. That's how much I liked it. Obviously, uh, in comparison to Blood of Elves, I think she grew massively. Actually, her character growth was huge.
Yeah. It's interesting to me that like I know in the first couple books we all felt a little iffy about how women were written, I will
Yeah,
say. Like it still is a little off and it's probably off-putting to a lot of people. But I actually found like the relationships, especially between Chris and Siri and Yen and Siri, were
yeah,
so well done.
yeah. They didn't see her like a lust object, and I
Yeah,
really like that.
but it felt like a real female friendship and like a real like I don't know how you
Yeah,
would describe it, but like you see someone like a woman taking another woman
yeah,
under her wing, and it felt really,
true.
really nice to see that, and it felt very real.
Yeah, also I really liked the relationship or like friendship. Siri started with that guy in the monastery
Yeah,
that she's like a little in between about, like, do I like this guy? Don't I like this guy? Like, I really like that. I forgot the name of the boy at the moment, but I really like those parts as well.
me too.
In like
But
they were like little tidbits, but I liked it.
and then like you said, when she asked Yen about it, and she was asking
I love
like
that
how
part.
do you, like what about love and all this stuff? It's just like that's so sweet
Yeah,
because Yen, like you know that we still don't get a ton of her, but you can tell that she's like kind of emotionally damaged. So
yeah,
her perspective is going to be so different. And it's funny
yeah.
that Siri would go to her for that question.
True. The only thing I think I missed in that regard in this book is what you see in the series already is the origin story of Yennefer. So yeah, I could kind of see where she was coming from and what she's been through, but I can imagine you don't because you haven't watched it yet. I don't know if it's similar in the book in the further books or not, but I actually really like that, and it shaped a lot of embodiment around her character. Also
Mhm.
towards Siri, like I could see where she was coming from all the
Yeah.
time or most of the time. So yeah, that was really nice to see. But I can
I'm
see it's
hoping we
very
get it soon.
interesting.
Yeah. I hope we get it soon. I shoot, now I forgot what I was going to say.
Sorry.
No, because I was reading Sasha's comment and I was like, I was thinking about that and then I thought about something else and now I forgot. Oh, yes. There was a part where Triss gave Geralt shit for being emotionally unavailable because he
I
was
don't
trying
remember
to like
that.
you don't remember that? I have
No,
it tabbed. Um
I've read it like a month ago. The miracle that I remember so much still is absolutely amazing.
and that's where like that's why I thought about it because Sasha mentioned like morally gray and realistic because it really felt to me like that was a moment where I connected with Geralt finally because he was trying to make decisions about well everyone was kind of sitting and talking about Ciri and everyone was like kind of ganging up a little bit on Geralt because he's like saying all these things like you know, Ciri, you're not going to do this, like you're not going to be able to do that. And then Triss, I literally tabbed it because I was like, go off. She was like, maybe one accept the fact human emotions and feelings weren't killed in you by the elixirs and the grasses. You killed them. You killed them yourself, but don't you dare kill them in the child. I was like, tell
Oh
him.
yeah.
Fuck him up.
Yeah, now I remember, like, that was a really good part.
And like, and it's true because you see him being like trying to like protect her. He feels fiercely protective, and he's trying to, ignore the fact that he has feelings, but he's trying to actively like overprotect Ciri.
Mm-hmm.
And Triss calls him out. She's like, you can't kill feelings in the little girl. You have to let her figure shit out on her own. Be a
Yeah, in that
grown.
case, I actually really like that part because Geralt is actually starting to see Ciri as his biological daughter. I feel like a real daughter, and Triss is like, "Let's put you back on the ground." Like, hello,
This
she's
is
not
bigger than
actually
her.
yours. She needs you. You need to help her grow up. You don't need to keep her small. You need to help her.
Yeah. Yeah. And like it's so much bigger than just him and her. I'm sure he'd be so happy. And like that got to me in the game too at the end of Wild Hunt. Um I'm sure all like Geralt wants is just for him and Ciri to be witchers together and be happy, and like that he could always
Happy and
keep an eye
free.
on her and protect her. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we saw just how many people want to get their hands on Ciri.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I am scared for her. That's a good point. That's a good point
Yeah.
because I don't think she would be caring for Ciri just for Geralt or just for the,
No. But I
just because she
can't
has an
tell you
obligation.
why or how or what.
Yeah.
I can't tell that. But I really loved the part as well when Ciri was like getting tired and she didn't have any encouragement anymore. And Yen was like, "Don't be a little bitch about it. Keep going. I know you can do it." I really love those bits as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Me too.
I just want her to be happy and, running around with a sword. But like,
Yeah. In that case, how do we feel about her wanting to be a witcher? Like, I feel scared even in Geralt's place. Like, I would want her to become a witcher in a way, just to keep her safe. Like, she's like our little baby as a reader as well, because we know so many
yeah.
people are after her. But at the same time, like, yeah, it could serve as very good self defense,
Mm.
knowing how to be a witcher. So, like, I'm a little shifted in between both sides actually, witcher or no witcher.
Oh, like I'd rather she be a witcher because at least she can 100% like she knows how to disappear, she knows how to fend for herself, she knows how to blend in and do a bunch of other stuff, right? And at least you feel more secure that she's not just like locked up somewhere, because I feel like that's how a lot of people want her. Like even when they sent her to the monastery, at least she was learning things, which I really
Yeah,
liked.
true.
It wasn't just like we're gonna put you away and forget about you for your own safety.
Yeah.
You're still gonna get an education, which I thought was really nice.
True. But I think I would rather see her as a mage then, with some sword fighting skills as an extra.
Mm.
Like that she gets a little bit of both, maybe, even, if
I
that's even
want
possible. I haven't played the games or anything, but that would be interesting though, if it would be like, oh, Witcher some sort of mage. I think that would be cool though.
yeah, that'd be interesting. I don't know if like her blood like
Yeah.
makes it impossible for her to maybe be a witcher because they have to undergo a bunch of mutations. But she seems to already have like incredible powers, so it'd be really interesting to see how it's going to
Yeah.
go from here. Whether, like you said, maybe she will choose to
Yeah. How
become
do
a
we
mage.
evolve? Yeah.
But I feel like she feels so strongly like attached to Geralt that I
Yeah.
don't know if she would want to.
Yeah. I feel like you can really see from Geralt's perspective that Ciri's really like his daughter and nobody touches her. And
Hmm.
but also vice versa. Like for Ciri, Geralt is really like a father figure, and he can't be touched, so to speak,
Yeah,
because she wants to protect it like so badly.
yeah. Great mix. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
think
have
so.
I have no clue though, because it seems like everyone, like I remember in the game, obviously no spoiler, but Ciri was running around and getting trained by an elven mage. And everyone was kind of questioning, like, why would he want to teach you if not for some kind of gain for himself. Because like when you look at it, I'm sure Yen might have some kind of ulterior motive behind teaching. It might be the warm and fuzzies, you know, there might be
True.
the loving and caring part of her, but she might have some kind of ulterior motive. Same with Triss, beyond her affection for Geralt. And then like, you know, there was in Sword of Destiny, the oh, what were they called? The ones in the trees.
Yeah.
In the Broccolon.
Yeah. There's
You know
where
what I'm
some sort.
talking about?
Yeah, I know where
Like
you're at.
they were saying that like they would like to keep Ciri in theory. Like it seems like
Yeah.
everyone wants a piece of her, and I'm curious to see if she's going to like go along and just, you know, keep her own mind but get taught by everyone, or if she's going to learn like betrayal by someone that she trusts to teach her.
Yeah, I personally think like this is one of my many theories that she might actually just be the key factor for uniting the entire kingdom.
Dryads, thank you, Judith. Sorry.
Yeah, like that she will be a key part to uniting the entire Witcher world in some sort of way, like the
Ooh.
elves with the Witchers, with the humans, with the mages. Like, I think she will take at least take a big part in every single world. Like
Okay.
now she's hanging out a lot with the witches, but at the same time indirectly with the mages, with Yen, like getting those lessons and everything. So I feel like she's still going to hang out with the elves somehow. I don't know how yet. I'm with the humans, and somehow I think because she's so neutral in a way that she will combine it all and come with like a proper solution that will work for everyone eventually after some major trauma probably. Otherwise you can't fill up all those books. So yeah.
That's an interesting theory, because I didn't like, I don't have any theories yet on where it's going.
Yeah.
Um Obviously we still have 5 books
Yeah, 4 or 5
get
books.
through. Yeah, I think it's 6 plus 2. 6 plus 2,
Yeah.
the 2. So it's still 5 books to get through. And like, even though there wasn't a lot of action in this one, there was a lot of stuff happening. So I'm very
Yeah.
curious to see how all these little
Yeah. I feel
plots
like this
are
book was a
going.
major setup for the further books to go.
Yeah,
So yeah.
unfortunately. Oh my gosh. Can we just I still love the humor in this book when Geralt is on
Mm,
the raft and that
yeah.
scientist is like bugging him, and then there's that little kid that's just like yammering on. Like I love
Yeah.
those moments that just seem so like
Mhm.
they're a good like comedy break, but they're
True.
also just they just make the world feel more real to me. I don't know.
In that case, I love the dandelion scenes in this one as well. Like for some reason, he had a much bigger part, like an actual part to the story this time, and I don't know why. I just loved it. Like he was so funny. He was dandelion. Like that's the
But
only
he
character
felt
that
even
stayed
more
completely true.
developed. Mhm.
Yeah, it's the only character
Yeah.
that didn't necessarily grow a lot, but stuck through to his own character from the short
Mhm.
stories. Like you could easily see, like, okay, yeah, that's dandelion. That's a typical dandelion thing to do
But
and
I
say.
was shocked to learn like how educated he is, and how much he's traveled and learned and taught and like knows all these people and things. It's like, okay, it gives him a bit of like a dimension, because he was just kind of a massive flirt and a tool.
Yeah,
But like now you kind of see that like there's a lot to him, and it's kind of interesting to see
mhm,
him like back on the
yeah,
university campus and being familiar with it, and like the way he
true.
feels about it is really, really cool. Yeah, see, Sasha's with you, Naomi.
Yeah,
I didn't
I
think
think
about it
she's as
that way.
well.
That's a really good point, because she's getting exposed to all these different non-humans very early, like not like
Yeah,
most people would be. So
exactly.
that's pretty good.
And I
Pretty
actually
good.
wasn't really surprised that Dandelion was so educated in a way because I remember this scene that I didn't like as much in The Last Wish with the
Hmm.
elves and Dandelion and Geralt. And I remember Dandelion, for some weird reason, I do remember that, is that he said that he loved geography. He loves geography. So I was like, okay, so he knows his places. What's else about him? So I knew there was some sort of knowledge behind all the banter and the flirt, but not like only up to a certain extent. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm happy to
That's
see
fair.
that there is more in that brain of his besides women and their beds and their
But
his
that has
runaway
left.
escapes.
That hasn't left. No, I was surprised when he noticed he was being followed and he knew kind of how to shake the tail.
Yeah.
And then when you see him with Dijkstra, you find out that he's actually like kind of involved in spying and politics, even though he pretends he's not. I'm like, okay, like
Yeah.
you seem slippery. I feel like they might be setting him up to be like a traitor, but I don't think he is because he's doing his best to like not reveal where Geralt is or what happened to him. Like he
Yeah,
can
and I
tell he
love
wants to be a good friend.
true, and in that case also really loved that when Yennefer came into it with Dandelion, like you could see his caring nature. Like, okay, you weren't nice to me before, but I'm gonna help you anyway. And
Yeah.
also when they were figuring it out about, I honestly always forget his name. From the fire mage that got his face burned. I forget his name all the time.
Oh, isn't it with an R?
Yeah, it's the guy that follows him everywhere to lurk out
Um,
information about Geralt, but I forgot his name all the time.
I know it's with an R, but I don't remember beyond that. Shoot. But I know who you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, and I actually really like that there was also like a build up to the friendship of Dandelion and Yen, even though they were bickering a lot. Like they really couldn't stand each other.
Yeah, see, like that's how I feel they're kind of building it, but like I don't think so. I think Dandelions, like we saw it in the short story with oh the girl with an E. The other bard who like he didn't even want to
Yeah,
sleep
the
with.
woman
He's like, yeah,
that was more like
like
his
we
sister. No, not his sister, but they felt like his sister.
yeah. Like we
Yeah,
saw that he actually has like a lot of integrity. So I feel like he
yeah.
wouldn't betray Geralt, but like
That would break my heart too, though. Like, don't like. Only recently, the Poppy War series, I still need to start the final book, broke my heart in that regard. Like, don't do it with this one as well, please. Just don't.
it could be.
Yeah, that could be.
I think we don't know his full involvement yet in like the
Yeah,
political world, but it's true that like he's in a position with his his job to kind of
yeah.
be unnoticed and go everywhere and to get into places normal people wouldn't. So he could very well just be like kind of like gathering information for everyone. Just want to go
In that
back to
case, also
Sasha's.
love it. Yeah, I'll go for Sasha first.
Oh no, I just really I didn't want to lose it in the comments. I
Yeah.
actually have never seen or read Lord of the Rings,
Oh,
but it
I
is a
love
good.
it. It's like my number one favorite book ever. Like, ever. Oh, I
But
love
I
it
do
so
like
much.
the comment of like their journey and destiny. Everyone influences everyone's
Yeah, that's how
life
I
because I feel
compare
like that's
series
kind of how
well.
it is.
To me,
Yeah,
so far, the Witcher series feels like a little baby book of the Lord of the Rings so far. Like, also, like with Sasha saying, like their journey and destiny influences everyone's life. And I feel like that's going to be with Siri as well.
yeah,
That she unknowingly, even though in Lord of the Rings it is knowingly, but unknowingly will influence everybody's life.
100%, 100%. She's gonna even the
Yeah.
smallest thing she does are gonna have like such big repercussions, and I'm kind of excited to see how that's gonna be done in the future because I think like that's one of the things I like is no matter how many different things are happening, I felt like I was still able to follow along. Even like you said, like there was a lot of names and stuff, but I feel
Yeah.
like you could still kind of get an idea. Like you could read a scene and see like the wheels
You can
turning
just
in
envision
everyone's
it
heads.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it
It's
was
like
still
a
pretty
movie.
clear.
But I had I always messed up like in my head Dijkstra and Stregobor for some reason. Like I keep on switching them up in my head. At that point, that I had to keep on looking up. Wait, what did they do again? Who were they again? Oh yeah, wait, that's the one with the streak. I remember. That's the one with that. That's one from the mages. It was like, okay, reset. Let's go again. So
Yeah,
yeah,
there's definitely a lot of people to keep track of.
yeah.
A lot.
But what I also really like about Dandelion, what I want to say previously was, I love how he involves politics in his songs. like his emotions and politics and how he thinks about them. He like twists it in that way in his songs that it's like a message going out without anyone realizing it's actually about politics.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of his way of spying in his own nature. Like just spreading the songs in hope, I think, that it will reach any of his friends. And I really like that.
Yeah. And like it's interesting again to have that side to him, and then the other side is like the
Yeah.
ballad of the two tits.
Yeah.
It's like one extreme to the other.
Yeah, exactly. And yet every song has meaning, even though it is the ballad of the tits at times, but he'll twist it in that way, it actually has meaning. Yeah. And I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. He is like one of my favorite characters, I think, in like most fantasy books I've read, because I feel like there's so much potential to like for the rest of the series. Like I'm really
he's
excited to
also
see where
the
he
only
goes.
character where I really can't tell where he's going.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have no clue whatsoever what's going to happen to him. Like I think,
and you never know what he's gonna do because he's
so unpredictable, and I love it. I love him for it.
Yeah.
Like he's so unpredictable and yet so morally great.
Mm-hmm.
Like he isn't actually good, but he isn't evil at all. Yet he doesn't mind hurting people, so to speak, to save who he loves. So yeah, I actually love his morally great character.
Yeah, and his impulsivity, because that's the thing, is like I feel like I know in any given situation what most characters will do, but for Dandelion, I'm like, you're such a he's such a wild card.
Yeah, exactly.
He's sometimes so cowardly, but sometimes he's also very like, I will die for you, and it's like I don't never know what he's gonna do.
That's maybe a good idea for the readathon. By the time it might happen in December or January, Dandelion's going to be a wild card. We never know what's going to happen with him next.
Honestly, because
you really don't.
He's chaotic. So what do
he's
you?
Like the serious. He's like the child man in the entire Witcher universe, because all the men feel like so grown up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, compared it to real life, I'm like, wait, this can't be real that they are all like that, like so serious and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And like he makes it like fluffier to read as well, with his humor and everything.
Yeah, he's the yin to Geralt's yang, because Geralt is always so serious.
Also what Judith says, I also love how he keeps finding Geralt everywhere. Exactly.
Yeah, and you can tell he actually cares for him. Just to kind of start wrapping this up and heading it into the next book, do you think we're going to finally get, because I think that would be my main complaint and what probably stopped me from giving this book a 5 stars, was that at the end of the day, this is not a book that stands on its own. This is definitely a setup book. There is, the short story collections kind of stood on their own. There are some books in series, like you gave like you were reading the Poppy War recently. I think the first Poppy War book can stand on its own, fantastic as a book.
True.
But this did not. So where do you think we're going to go from here? Do you think we're going to finally see like certain plots happening? Do you think we're just going to get more training? What do you think?
The overall one I already mentioned across all the books, but I really hope you're going to see more relation between the White Flame and Ciri.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going to know more about that, because we didn't really mention it during this live about the White Flame, but I'm actually really curious about where that's going and what the actual council is going to do to its Ciri.
Yes.
Outside the training, but I really hope there will be a little more action packed and a little less world building, but still supportive enough to get us through the book.
Yeah.
Like I would be disappointed if it would just be more setup.
Me too. I think as much as I love all the character building, I feel kind of let down by the fact that we did not, even in like the Last Wish, we got some monster hunting, and the entirety of this, there's like one monster.
I'm starting to miss that part as well, so I'm hoping we'll see more also with Ciri's training, that they might actually take her out on a monster hunt. I think that will be interesting.
Do you think she's going to go back to Witcher training, or do you think she's going to continue with like mage training?
I think she's going to combine it a little bit. Like, I'm curious to see if she's going on a actual monster hunt with the witches, but at the same time learn how to control her magic more with Yen, and maybe even her healing abilities with Triss.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah,
But it
Susie,
needs
it's
to be like a little more plot driven in this
yeah.
one for me to keep my interest as peaked as much as they are now.
Yeah. This was definitely more politics and character heavy than it
Yeah,
was fantasy heavy, I would even say. I think we'll hold our breath till the end of the next book. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm very excited, but I'm just really hoping for some good stuff. She will
yeah,
do
me too.
both. I mean, who knows? Like, I feel like something with all the plots against her are gonna like some shit's gonna hit the fan somewhere. I
Yeah,
think something
I'm
might,
hoping so.
honestly, like
Yeah, this like
I wanna see something come into fruition because it's great that we get to see the scheming, but like I want to see something
yeah,
happen.
you want to see the plans to action. Some of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
because we
this is
got
gonna
like a
be book
little bit
4.
with that burnt mage.
Yeah, I'm like this is gonna be book 4 in a way. Like I want to see some action actually having meaning to the plot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm usually a more action packed person in her books, like a very plot driven one, more than a character driven one.
Really?
Although
Okay.
if it's balanced out, I don't mind it. Like with this one, I didn't mind it because I love the characters. But if I hated characters, like I would have DNF'd because it was too plot driven. So I'm really too character driven. Sorry. So I'm really hoping this will be more plot driven to pique my interest really, because otherwise I think I will rather go to a 3.5 rather than a 5 star, because that's something I'm really starting to miss in the books.
That's fair. That's fair. I'd like, yeah, I agree with you, Judith. I would love to see some more training. Those were some of my favorite parts. Even the ones that
Yeah,
were all dialogue, I thought were really, really well done.
true.
I think something
Like
will
I could
happen
also
to herself.
envision them, like the
Yeah,
training scenes and the fighting scenes. I could envision them,
they
and
were
that means
very
it's written
cinematic.
well. Because otherwise, I'm like, okay, I think it just happens like that. I don't know what I just read, but in my head, it happens like that. That's what I have. That's what I actually had quite often with the Poppy War. Like it's written like that. It's written brilliantly, but like I couldn't envision it how it was written. So I was like, okay, I think in my head it happened like that. So yeah,
It's written in a very cinematic way. I'm absolutely
yeah,
horrific with fight scenes in books. I can never really
me
picture them,
too.
which is why I really enjoyed that training montage, which was all dialogue. I thought
Yeah,
that was a really interesting way to do it. I don't know how far I'll go. We'll be scared. I'm getting
yeah,
a little scared for everyone. Can't wait now. Yeah, I'm really curious to see now that
yeah,
we've
me
like
too.
discussed a little bit because I read at the beginning of the month, so I'm like eager to get back into it and see
Yeah, me
what
too.
happens. I love that they're short. I'm really enjoying being able to like
Yeah,
breeze
for me
through
they're
them.
still long enough because now I also changed job, so I'm really having to see like how I'm going to put everything together, combining everything. Although I
Yeah,
think I'll have more reading time compared to otherwise. So yeah, I'll have to wait and see, but they are fairly short. Like I couldn't do a Robin Hood book every single month because that would be my entire reading stack every single month. Like such a break would take me a month to finish. Like
I
that
was
case
gonna
also
say
had
that
me chose to go for. Yeah.
my other read along will be the death of this is like they've all been around 900 pages and like while they're great I'm
Oh
like
boy.
sitting here I'm like I'm kind of looking forward to having a bit of my own time
Yeah.
because it's a lot.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but you volunteered yourself, so
No, honestly, like if anything like these are great because they're a lot more reasonable in length for fantasy books especially.
true, true.
They're 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 great and the fact that there's 8 books but they're all that length is a lot better because like
Hmm.
the Robin Hobb series, there's I think 16 books in that like whole series.
Jesus.
They're
Oh boy,
separated by
16 bricks?
trilogy,
Like 16
mostly.
bricks. Oh boy, that
Yeah.
would like fill up my entire shelves. And I'm like, nope, nope.
This whole trilogy has been 900 pages and like it's incredible, but I
Yeah.
definitely need a little break.
I also agree with Sasha.
Yeah.
I can see why it's not for everyone. Like, especially in like The Last Witch and everything, when you get first introduced into the books, if you go by reading order, like for many people, I think it's very off-putting that it's short stories to begin with, and with the feminism. I think the way he writes female characters is quite off-putting for some people.
Yeah. It depends on what you're able to tolerate. And especially with Blood of
Yeah.
Elves, I feel like if you do not enjoy, because some people really don't enjoy politics in their fantasy
Yeah.
books. For me, it's such a big like thing. I love it. If it's well done, of course. But I feel
Yeah,
like a lot
indeed.
of people don't enjoy that. And like this one had basically no action. And it's funny because the cover literally has like bloodied Geralt with a sword and like nothing
Yeah,
happened.
my cover is like got like a wolf on the cover of it. I think I don't have it here with me, but it's like with the metal ones,
Yeah,
the
I know which
covers.
ones. The
In that
UK
case, I'm
covers.
actually really excited to see what Mariana thinks next time we're getting together, because she only gave it 3.5 stars, I believe, or
Okay.
3 stars. So yeah, I'm actually. She was. I think she put it in our group chat that she was even conflicted about quitting, like DNFing the series, the rest of the series. So I'm actually very interested in what she has to say next time.
I'm guessing
As to
I'm
why.
guessing it's how slow it is. That's gonna be it's tough for
Yeah,
her,
I
which
think
is
so
fair.
too. But I'm not quite sure, because it was quite airy at times as well, like very
Yeah.
fluffy. So I'm not sure. I'm actually very intrigued in a way.
Yeah, yeah. We'll definitely have a brief section in the next live show just to kind of
Yeah.
catch up all together on our thoughts on Blood of Elves. I think it'll just make for a smoother discussion going into Time of Contempt to get everyone's thoughts. And then that way too, if anyone,
Still has
yeah,
some thoughts.
100%. I hate that there's no
Exactly.
map. I hate
Yeah.
it.
But you know what? Like, I was thinking about downgrading it because of that, and because there wasn't a character list or anything, like minor details about them. But then again, I was like, yeah, but it's got nothing to do with the actual story, but more with the print of the book
Mhm.
having no map and everything. So I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna downgrade a book based on it not having a map.
No, but
So
it really would help.
it would have helped, yeah. Now I'm just envisioning that those places being everywhere. So I prefer not looking at a map. Like in my head, some places like are like way out of reach, and in the book they're like next door. But like it's that weird imagination of mine, so I think
Yeah.
I'll keep it that way.
I just like I can't be bothered to look a map up online because I know there are some, but like I always prefer to just be able to like flip to the first 3 pages and just pull up a map. That's like it's a
Yeah.
lot easier, and if you're reading, you just flip back. So I
I
never
always
bothered
forget
to
to
look them
flip
up.
back. Like I always forget to flip back, because also with An Ember in the Ashes, it also had a map, and we did a read along about that.
Yeah.
And I was reading it, and in the end, I went back. And I was like, oh, but in my head, it was like swapped completely. So yeah, in a way, indirectly, it kind of ruined it for me because it didn't match up with what I had in
With what you
mind,
already yeah.
envisioned. So yeah, in a way, I avoid maps, but on the other hand, I think they're pretty to look at. So
If they have them, it's helpful, 100%. I
yeah,
feel like that's the best way. So yeah, there are some you can find on Google and stuff, but um yeah, I love the ones in the Wheel of Time. They're so smart. They're
haven't read
so
it
smart.
yet.
So there is a large map of the whole like continent, but
Yeah.
then for each individual book, there are smaller ones that show just kind of the main section. So I've only read the first book, but
Okay.
there was a smaller map that basically showed the main areas that the characters go through. And then as they progress, because the first book is really just like a journey, as they progress, they have more maps interspersed that kind of
Oh,
show like the distance between two villages. So then when they say like they did a detour all the
yeah.
way up here to get to the village, you can see it because it's at the section right before. It's so
Oh, that's
helpful.
nice. That's nice. It also would
It's
have been
very
funny
well
if,
thought
like,
out.
with the chapters, but it's also like more a layout kind of thing. If they would
Yeah.
put like some sort of sketch of Kermoren behind the actual chapters about it, so you can envision it better,
Yeah.
or have,
No,
like
I think
one
you're
page
right.
of
Like
the map, like where it's
every
pointed out.
yeah, every chapter would make a lot more sense because otherwise
Yeah,
it's 'cause this one like Wheel of Time, it's not even there's not that many like countries necessarily, especially the first couple of books. I think you're mainly just following people like in like cities and areas, and it still had that separation. I feel like with this, with so many different countries, it'd be so helpful to
Yeah,
have
to
an
actually have
idea of
that.
what it looks like. It makes so
Yeah,
much more
true.
sense. Okay.
True.
That's not, you're right. It's not, it's a fault of formatting, not the book, but it just,
Yeah. That's why I never try to downgrade a book based on a map or a characters list, because it isn't hurting the actual story. It just helps us to comprehend it better,
yeah.
but it doesn't change the actual story. So I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm not gonna downgrade it because of that, even though it would be very very
But it
helpful.
would be nice. It would be nice. It would be
Especially a
nice.
characters list for someone as forgettable as me with my memory. Like probably tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I'll just make a list again with every character and where they're from, just to keep it like keep my mind fresh when I'm reading about them. Like, okay, yeah, that's not the dude from the street guy, that's the other dude. So yeah, just
There
that I don't.
is the Witcher Wikipedia, the Witcher fandom
Oh, is there a
Wikipedia that
list on
has,
there?
yeah,
Oh, I have to check that. Maybe I might also share it in the Discord so other people can have it too. And I might share it
yeah.
on the Twitter account as
Let me
well.
just find the one for, okay, I don't know if you can get the, so I think the character, like that whole thing is for like the entire series, both the, I think it's like games and the books, and the show has its own character list.
Oh, that's nice.
So I'll share it. Yeah, be careful. It could be full of spoilers for sure, but at
Oh
least
yeah,
it might
true.
just remind you, because it usually starts with like a, you know, general.
Yeah, I hate it when it actually spoils them. Like with, I remember that with the Poppy War, like in the complete pack, there's a characters list, and they're like stars, like these little
That's
stars
right.
next to the characters, and at the bottom it's like yeah they are deceased, or it's like right after it, and I'm like yeah I didn't want to know who's going to die yet. Like I want to experience that. I don't want to know. Like
I
it
didn't
didn't ruin the
realize.
books for me, but yeah, I don't like that.
I didn't know Poppy War had a character list.
Yeah, at the very back. At least my editions have that. I don't know if every edition has that, but
Because I find sometimes if I'm like in the middle of a series and I look up fan art, and then like it comes with
yeah, that can be
spoilers.
so spoilery. Like I always try to withdraw myself from that until after I finish the series. Like now I also don't dare to continue playing Wild Hunt. I only got at the very beginning, just because I don't want to spoil myself more than what I've already seen with the series. Because I think that would be too spoilery for me to continue with the books. Or at least to
Yeah,
enjoy them as much as.
I definitely got a little bit spoiled, I think, but nothing that, you know what? I don't think it's anything that impacts my enjoyment, because I feel like what I heard, a lot of the characters that kind of come in cameos are people, it's just kind of like Easter eggs, people from the books, but you don't really get like spoilery
Right.
things, or like you don't understand it when you're playing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really ruin, because I played the game fairly
Okay.
recently. I was playing it through November through January.
Oh yeah, that
Um,
is recently.
yeah, and I find like I don't remember a lot of, because characters say things in passing in the game, but like if
True.
you don't know the context, like you're not going to remember it. I'm like you, my
No, true.
memory is kind of spotty.
Yeah, like in the series, they are mentioning and showing the white flame and who it is, and that kind of it doesn't ruin it for me, but I kind of already know, so it takes like the little excitement around it away, if you know what I
The
mean.
white flame is a person?
Yeah, I'm not going to say more because I might already trigger you or anyone else, but you will have to continue reading that. But yeah, like I kind of know what it embodies or who it embodies. And I'm sorry if it was a spoiler to anyone. Like, if it
I mean, it
spoils
was
anything
vague
at
enough.
all. But
It was
Yeah, I'm
fake
like,
enough,
in
but
that case,
still.
I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see the relations in that regard, and I wish I didn't.
Fair enough.
So yeah, in that case, it doesn't really ruin the enjoyment, but it decreases it a little bit because you
Yeah.
don't get that excitement about finding out who it is, what the motives are, what the connections are, and
Yeah.
that's a pity. Yeah, I'm sorry, Sasha. You can laugh at me. I'm already happy I got my voice back, so I don't sound that hoarse because that would have been worse. But are you sure you didn't flee in the comments because of my voice? I hope not, because I got it back. I hope to see you again next month. Visually.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward. I think we will
Me
wrap
too.
it up here so we can at least chit
Yeah,
chat a bit, with the other girls and with everyone in case, someone
yeah,
popped in here and hadn't finished Blood of Elves, or, keep an eye out and, if you're able to get your hands
yeah,
on Time of Contempt, we will definitely be releasing info when that live shows up and hopefully everyone can join along.
yeah. Which will be hopefully beginning of June. I can't believe it's May already. Like, time's
Yeah.
flying by. It's already May. Like, next live will be in summer, or like, yeah, so yeah. To me, it's summer. June is summer, even though it's July. June is summer to me. I
Mhm.
think. Yeah, see, even
Yeah,
my mind is blurry. But I can't believe it's June, like May already, and the next one is going to be in June. Like, time flies.
we're
We
we're a
started
week into
this.
May already. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you for joining
Mhm.
us. Thanks for being here,
Thank.
Sasha, even though
Yeah.
you're
Thank
under the
you,
weather.
and get well soon.
Yeah.
Take care of
Um,
yourself.
there are
All of
links in the description too. We need to renew the Discord link because it
yeah,
expires. You need to set it to like permanent. It's okay. We can do that later, but I will link it down below in
yeah.
case anyone wants to join the Discord. The Twitter is linked down below.
Okay.
Everyone's channels are below in case anyone watching is interested, because we usually have 4 hosts. So
Yeah,
everyone's
usually
channels
we do.
are linked. The Twitter for the readathon is linked. And we will keep you guys posted on when it is happening next month. I hope you all enjoy the Time of Contempt. I'm super pumped for it. And
Me
thank you
too.
again for joining us, friends. Bye.
Bye.